What do you think the herpes simplex virus 1 is?
I would say it's probably a genital sexual transmitted disease.
Okay. Where do you think it comes from?
It originates from herpes of the mouth, I believe.
Okay. Do you know how it's transmitted?
I would say sexually, or even maybe orally too.
Okay. Did you know that 90% of Americans have the virus in them?
How many?
Or have 90% of Americans have the virus or have been exposed to the virus?
I didn't.
Okay, well, thank you for your time.
Now, what do you think herpes simplex virus comes from? Having sex with multiple people that have had it before. All right. What do you think some of the signs and symptoms are of herpes simplex virus? Little red dots in your groin, nether region areas. All right. So how do you think herpes simplex virus is transmitted? Through sexual relations with multiple partners that have the issue themselves? I don't know, actually. You know anyone that has HSV or herpes simplex virus? I do not. Not that I've asked. Now, if you had herpes simplex virus, how do you think you would treat it? I'm pretty sure there's not a cure, but you can. I think you can go on medications to keep it under wraps, but you can't get rid of it completely. Is there a vaccine for herpes simplex virus? I don't think so.
So what do you think of when you think of herpes simplex virus 1?
Cold sores or an STD.
Okay. Do you know anybody's with the herpes virus?
Yes.
Okay. Did you know that about 90% of Americans have been exposed to the virus?
No.
Or have it in them? How do you think that herpes is transmitted?
By sexual encounters or kissing.
This is the human simplex virus 1, or the herpes simplex virus 1, sorry, etiology. It's the human herpes virus, and the name comes from the Greek hairpin to creep, describing the chronic or latent recurrent nature of infections. It's got a large double-stranded DNA, and then the outside capsid is the tegument, and it's protein region filled. It's also got a lipid bilayer envelope, which contains a large number of glycoproteins. And as you can see, we have two photos here. This one is an actual picture of the human herpes virus. And it's kind of hard to see, but here we have the envelope around it. And then you've got your capsid, your glycoprotein spikes, which is really kind of hard to see, and then your tegument. And then over here we have the same thing, but it's just an animation, so it makes it a little easier to see the different parts of the virus. Humans are the primary reservoir for the herpes simplex 1 virus, so we get to be the hosts. Lucky us. So here we have the transmission of the HSV1. It enters the body through broken skin or a mucous membrane through direct or indirect contact. So, for example, direct contact would be if you had a cold sore on your face and then you started kissing someone. That would be direct contact. They would be directly getting that through touching the blister. Indirect would be if you had a cold sore or something like that, the feverish symptoms showing, and you put on some chapstick and you put it over that, and then you handed the chapstick to your best friend. You would be giving them the virus through indirect contact. Another way would be like sharing a water bottle or sharing a fork or maybe if you had the open blister and you rubbed it or something, and then you went and touched a doorknob, you're leaving that virus there and letting others become susceptible to that, picking that up. The HSV1 virus can be contagious even if the infected person does not have active signs or symptoms, or active visible blisters. So I thought that was kind of interesting. It's a highly contagious there. And in addition to fluid from fever blisters, where it's most commonly found, the virus can be carried in bodily fluids like saliva, semen, and fluid from the female genital tract, because it's most likely mucous membranes like we see. Once the virus has entered the body, it has to make a decision to progress and come out through the skin, give you the full-on cold sore, that kind of thing, or go into latency where it travels to the nerves in your spine and then just kind of hides there. The link below describes this process very well. If you want to click on this link here, it just it goes into it has a bunch of different animations that show you exactly how the it decides to go into latency, or if it goes into the incubation period and that kind of thing.
Signs and symptoms for herpes simplex virus is the blisters, multiple blisters, and usually are between 7 to 10 days. Maybe some of you have had sores on the mouth or cold sores. It's about typically that time, and it's usually around the mouth, sometimes around the genitals or the rectum. The blisters can break and they leave the sores, that scab over, and it can be painful, very painful, as you can see here. I'm sure it's not a pleasant feeling. And some symptoms are, in the incubation period, there's sensations you can feel are tingling, itching, or burning sensation. And when treated early when you're feeling these things, they can be treated in these 7 to 10 days. I'm sure can minimize these infections when they're treated at an earlier stage. And the prodromal period, some symptoms are fever, muscle aches, swollen lymph nodes in the neck or groins. And these areas are possible. And tingling, and burning sensations like we discussed before. I don't know why I put that there. Yeah, that's an incubation period when you feel tingling and burning sensation. So don't get confused with that. That is an incubation period. And treatment, the medications that I found in my research that I did was acyclovir. You'll find that as well to treat measles or chickenpox, all coming from the same family. And also other forms are famciclovir. Hope I'm saying that right. Famciclovir, valacyclovir, and forms are pills, the topical cream, and for severe outbreaks, you can find this form in injections. And so these forms are to help limit the control and for the outbreaks to happen. And also one way to help is by controlling stress levels. So acyclovir is in this mechanism that we have. I'm just going to explain a little bit how this works. If you can remember, or if you've been taught how DNA replication, how it works, DNA, the strands of DNA consists of are 5-carbon deoxyribose or ribose sugars that are linked together by
by phosphate groups. So as you can see here, this phosphate group from this DNA strand, the phosphate group, they're linked together by these 5-carbon deoxyribose. And each of these 5-carbon sugars has one of the 4 possible bases. If you can remember, it's the A, the G, the C, or the T deoxyribose. Or to simply explain this, DNA, in order to replicate, it needs these base pairs. And so aciclovir, what it does is it's the analog, or it's similar to, in function or structure of the 2-deoxyguanosine G sugar-based phosphate. It's modified by the enzyme specifically made by this virus. So scientists have found that this antiviral drug, comes from these enzymes that are made by this virus. So aciclovir attaches to the virus or the viral DNA strand as I like to call it fake, or in other words, not its normal G sugar-based phosphate unit, and so that it, as it connects or as it attaches with the DNA replication, then it no longer replicates because it doesn't have the normal G-guanosine sugar-based phosphate. So no further viral DNA replication occurs because aciclovir cannot attach to any more nucleotides of those 4 base pairs. Continue. So in prevention control, things to avoid is touching saliva, skin, mucous membranes of those who are infected, and things like sharing cups, sharing towels, silverware, clothing, makeup, lip balm, etc. Anything you can use and that you use on your face, or anything on those areas of infection. If they're shared or they're passed along and someone else touches them, they can be vehicles, or they can be things that can what's the word? I'm having this trouble. That can pass along this virus. And also kissing, oral sex, and the other forms of sexual activity with those that are infected as well. And I found now when this virus is dormant, so like we said before, it's important to control stress levels, sun exposure, sunburns. When you have those, it also can help to reactivate this virus again. It's important to keep yourself healthy as well, and that's a way to control your stress is by exercising, eating right, doing things that will help your body and your immune system to stay healthy and fight off these infections as much as they can. So, and also another way important to know and consider is that the genital HSV. Genital HSV is typically named Herpes Simplex virus type 2. This virus that we're studying now is is Herpes Simplex virus type 1, but also you can be infected, and have herpes simplex virus and have these lesions through this as well, because this is also from the same family, and so ways to prevent this, or to help prevent, is using latex condoms, and also what I thought was interesting is clinicians have suggested using dental dams for oral sex, and like we know, these methods are never to protect from transmission 100%. So there are tools to help to prevent genital HSV.